Spencer Fano and Caleb Lemieux are two of the most athletically gifted and well-rounded tackles in the 2026 NFL Draft with first-round potential.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's the director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Guys, we're going into Utah, to those Utes. We're talking about Spencer Fano and Caleb Lemieux. Are they the best offensive tackle duo in the nation? And are both of these guys going to be top 15 picks? And then we're going to Notre Dame, team that made the national championship this past season. Aamil Wagner, their tall, long-limbed, young offensive tackle. We're going to get into his game as well. But before we do all of that, guys, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Spencer Fano, 6'6", 302 pounds, allowed 1 sack, 2 QB hits, 11 hurries, 14 pressures all season. He's pretty much been a tackle his entire career. He started left tackle in 2023, and he flipped to the right side for the 2024 season. And Keith, like, his lateral range, lateral ability is some of the best probably at the offensive tackle position in this potential draft class. Like, you see him be able to handle stunts and twists on the defensive line with the defensive line when they run those games. His ability to take the first man, pass him off, and then reroute and recover to the backside or to the looper that's coming behind him. But he's an really good, excellent run blocker. A guy that gets upfield in a hurry, guy that moves people off the ball, runs his feet, leg drive, does a good job in double teams, but also single blocks. If he's uncovered, he knows, all right, I have that linebacker. Let me go get that guy, create that rushing lane. Also pulling out in the screen game, in space. Really good athlete and everything. His lat strength at the point of attack is good, strong-handed. And I just appreciate how smooth of a mover he is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just the nimble-footed. I think, Mike Mayock, when he's on NFL Network, always call these the dancing bears. Yeah, like that's Spencer Fano all the way. Like, he's very athletic and just nimble, fleet of foot to be able to mirror and match rushers very well. And I think for him, he's, as a pass protector, he's smart. And he has to be in the sense, because the big concern I have for him, probably worse than with Jennings Dunker we talked about yesterday, is his arm length. Mm-hmm. I think arm length is a big concern for him. And he's listed as 6'6", 302. I think I've seen he might have played around 290 as well. So he's in that range, kind of light in the pants in pass protection. So to me, that's where you see that kind of rear its ugly head, where you got guys, the speed, the power guys, the power rushers can drive him backwards. And it's a little bit of he anchors, but it's not immediate, right? Like, he gives up some penetration to those type of guys. And I think for me, it's okay, either A, we bulk you up and get you to 310. I think that might be beneficial for him without sacrificing his movement skills. Or B, you might have to, combination with A, you might have to do that and kick down in at guard, because I think the arm length may not meet the threshold for certain teams. But with his movement skills, Keith, I wouldn't be surprised to see a team say, let's give him a shot at tackle and see how it plays out.
Yeah, so watching him, I thought of two people, and I think they've been in two of the last three drafts. Peter Skoronski and Graham Barton were the two people that I thought of because of the movement skills, and more so probably Graham, because Graham, in my opinion, was an excellent mover. Especially what I appreciate with Spencer is that climbing to the second level, right? Like, it's multiple times where you talk about executing dual blocks, right? A dual into the second level. Like, he does it very well. Like, he comes off of that defender. You can tell that his weight is not leaning too much on the initial contact and not getting to the second point guy. It's a lot of things in there that I see with him that I'm like, man, like you're executing at a high level, right? So if I'm if I'm a zone team, I'm all over this guy. I'm like, this is exactly what I want, right? Like this is how I want you to execute. And he's another guy, when we talked about this with Jennings Dunker, is first step quickness. He has first step quickness. Flipping, not size of the ball, but I guess going from run game to pass protection. Where he's going to win is with the quickness, right? And getting in the way and forcing guys through his body and kind of just holding on, right? And it's not to this extent, but remember a couple years ago, Charles Cross out of Mississippi State, and we spent the entire season / draft process like, how much does this guy weigh, right? Like, it's 275, 95. How much does he weigh? Like, I remember his weight be one of the most important weights probably the last 5 years, to be completely honest with you. And you know, he came in at a good weight, but Charles was one of those hold on guys, right? Like, just hold on. And what I'm saying is that that's, if you're able to do it, it's not a bad recipe. I'm trying to think of Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas, the offensive tackle for Cleveland, right? The one being a Hall of Famer. When you watch his clips, it's the same thing. Like, he's almost bent backwards, right? But that was his process. And he was another guy that wasn't 330, 340 pounds, right? He got in the way and he had a process to, okay, this is how I'm going to execute this. And it brinked on making you nervous at times, but he always got the job done. And with Spencer, I feel like he can be that. I just got, and I think you said this, smart. I got intelligent, like very cerebral guy, that he also isn't lazy. And that's the part that with offensive linemen we don't discuss. But some of those guys don't make it to the next defender just simply because they don't want to, right? This guy wants to get his hands on as many people as possible. So I kind of fell in that threshold of the Graham Barton kind of ilk. And I wonder if there is going to be a conversation about him playing multiple different positions along offensive line, because I think he could.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, his experience playing guard and everything, but I just the intelligence, the understanding of leverage, but like also angling, like, you know what I mean? Understanding angles is such a big thing for him, and it's, to me, it should be a big thing for all offensive linemen to understand how to properly use leverage and how to attack angles and how to cut off access to angles and cut off access to the backfield by positioning yourself properly. And this is a guy that because he's really, again, like, he's got good strength. The play strength concerns that people have, and that it comes in when you're dealing with those guys that can get into your chest plate and drive you backwards. The run game, he moves people, right? Like, he'll move guys in the run game without a problem. He's another dude who wants to, similar to what we talked about, was it Jennings? He wants to finish people too. Like, Fano wants to finish guys. So, like, he has that play demeanor, that mean streak in his game, things of that nature that you love from offensive tackles. And I think for him, just being able to, all right, I can jump set, I can quick set you so you can't really go speed to power like you want. My hands are really good and nuanced to where, in the sense to where if you try to double hand swipe me, things like that, I don't keep them super close. I'm ready to counter with either hand if I have to. And I think he puts himself in more advantageous positions as a true pass protector outside of the strength concern and the weight concern. The technical aspect of it, I think he's fine and he's good in that regard. It'll translate to the league. Now it's more so, what's the right playing weight for him? And then what's the right position? Like, and I think that's going to be determined by whoever drafts him. But again, when you got the cases of the Rashawn Slaters of the world that have worked out with the less than ideal arm length, and we saw was Isaiah Wynn, who was with the Patriots from the Georgia Bulldogs. He was also a shorter, not the offensive most shorter offensive tackle, didn't have the greatest length in terms of wingspan. So there's case studies that it works. It's all about a team giving the guy the opportunity, and if he passes, let him stick with it. If he fails, you know what to do with him.
Just move him around. Yup, with DP, we don't have to go far, man, because we're about to talk about Spencer Fano's teammate, Caleb Lomu. I think that's right. I think that's how we're still in the process, right, of getting the enunciations down packed. But we're going to left tackle. Spencer Fano plays right tackle. Caleb Lomu plays left tackle for the Utah Utes. And we're about to get into this conversation of who Caleb is and where do we project him going in the draft with an early draft analysis with Caleb Lomu coming up next.
Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them, but if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougit Ready. Rougit Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougit's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is just right. Head to Rougit.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL and use the promo code LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit Rougit website for full safety information. 6'6", listed at 304 pounds. Okay, this is a good, it's crazy because this may be the most athletic offensive tackle duo in the nation in college football. Like, both of these guys are legitimate athletes, and watching Caleb, the way he moves, whether it's laterally, he reach blocking in the run game, they'll pull him. You don't see as often nowadays, Keith, the backside tackle pulling to the front side as a front side lead blocker. You got to be athletic to pull that off for the running back. You got to be because you got to get out of there, get on your high horse, hit top speed, and lead him so the running back doesn't get caught in the backfield. Caleb Lemieux is so good on those type of concepts as well. Not just a short little quick pitch to the play side. It's, hey, you're the backside tackle. We're running GT counter. Hey, you're the lead blocker in this situation, right? And he does a great job of that. You see his ability to fluid hips. He can redirect depending on, the movement of the pass rusher. If they throw counters, a spin counter, he can mirror that. He can react to it. But I really love his patience. He's not over aggressive. He's not just a guy that's trying to get hands on. He understands it's a long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Even though it happens very quick, I can't get overzealous and shoot my hands. Basically, it's playing poker, right? Like, you got to have the right poker face, because if not, people know, oh yeah, you're a mark. I got this pot. Like, I'm gonna take this money. He's really good at staying square, staying patient, letting you get within his reach, and then you see his hands extend. And then when his hands extend, he's got good hand strength to when he makes contact, you see him slow rushers down. He's got the athleticism and hip fluidity to recover. If he does get beat quick around the edge, around the corner, he can flip his hips and turn. I don't know if it's the extent of, remember when we watched Olu a couple years ago, and it was one of those, I think it might have been against JT2 Maloau. He got around the edge, and then he turned and looked like a cornerback running with the receiver going on the vertical route. And he was like, the tackles aren't supposed to do this. You know what I mean? Especially at 6'5", 6'6", like Olu. It's not to that extent, but he's still really athletic and fluid to be able to turn good in the run game as well. I think for him, he's 19. So he's not, like, we always talk about that grown man body, grown man strength. I don't think he's fully developed as a human in terms of his strength and his body type. So I think he can get stronger. His grip strength and lat strength is inconsistent, where you want to see a guy sustain and maintain and hold on to the block. At times I see him lose grip and everything like that. Like, so he'll make initial contact. It's good. It's fine. But it's like, hey, the longer the play goes on, guys can kind of break free. You want to see him be able to keep that grip and that latch and hold on and just be able to move with the guy, stonewall him, end up just anchoring, lifting the guy up, and just the rep is over, right? The defensive player knows it's over. It's over. It's over. I think that's where I want to see him get better with. Has some technical stuff where he might lean across his toes a little bit, bend at the waist at times and things like that. But to do what he's done at 19, like, he's an impressive young man. Impressive. I think he's the better tackle out of the two. Out of him and Fano, I think his ceiling is higher as well. I think he's going to come in with longer arms. Both of them will be 6'6" and everything. I think tackle is where he's going to absolutely live, and I think it's going to be the left side.
Yeah, so I think this is so tough. This is so tough because of the last statement you just made. Because I was actually about to come in on the other side of that. And maybe this is different perspectives, right? But
Yeah.
I think Spencer Fano is the better prospect right now. Like and we going off
Okay.
two
No, I agree
different
with that.
things.
I
You're
agree with that.
going ceiling, and I'm thinking floor, right? Like who has the higher floor versus who has the higher ceiling. And I think it's kind of similar to the conversation we had with Blake Miller, right? Not comparing them, but the conversation of, okay, if you clean all of those things up, then this is what we're going to get, right? Like a consistently like high level guy. But I agree with you from like a length perspective, like the arm length, like all of those things you see there. It's just little minor details as far as, and I don't know if you feel the same way too. Like sometimes I feel like he's leaning on guys, right? Like in engage, he's not really like sitting through his hips. And all of the other kind of, I guess, analysis points that you made, I agree with. I think that there is a path for him to be a first rounder. And you talked about his youth. You talked about how young he is, right? Like taking those snaps and just consistently taking the next steps forward. The parts with him that can be improved upon, I think are just things where you sit down in the film room and it's like, hey, this is how you approach this, because he has athletic ability and it's clear, right? That he's athletic enough to do it. It seems as though when he's like, some of this stuff is like, oh, this is your first time around doing this, right? And it's just learning
first year starter.
Yeah, and it's just learning experiences, and you can kind of see that. But the athletic ability is definitely there for Caleb Lomu, and I think that he's a guy. I don't know if I'm coming in for sure right now with him as a first round grade, but he's on that fringe for me, right? And we see this a lot where there's a run on offensive tackles right after the first round, like them first 10 picks. And you want to go grab a guy like that. And we're about to talk about a Notre Dame kid coming up, but I kind of reminds me of maybe the tackle version of Blake Fisher. Remember Blake Fisher? And he was the right tackle, right? And he was kind of behind Joe Out, so nobody talked about him enough. But it was like when you watch him, you're like, hey, man, this guy's pretty talented. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's pretty doggone talented.
No, 100%. I think everything you said is true, and I agree with the Spencer Fano point. He's a better prospect right now going into the season. He's played more ball. You know what I mean? He's more experienced, and he knows he's game planned enough. He knows exactly what to do. You could tell. You can tell both these guys study film, but especially Fano. Like you could tell he understands what rushers are trying to utilize against him. The main counter, like we talk about with Fano, is okay. Can you counter the power that guys, especially going into the league against the power rushers, right? You get Jared Verse and Byron Young on the schedule. It's like crap. You know what I mean? Like these are two power rushers. Do you have a counter for that? With Lemieux, this is going to be such a big season for him because he is a first. This was his first year as a starter in 2024, right? Played great ball for the most part. He's still got another year eligibility, so he doesn't have to come out. But if he goes back and improves on the things we just talked about, all the coaching points, right? Don't link, because some of that stuff, Keith, you could attest to this. When guys are the guy in high school, you get away with some sloppy technique all around because it's like, oh, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm more athletic than the guys I'm dealing with at the high school level. Then you get to college and it's like, yeah, it might work for a while, but you got to clean that up because these guys are going to get bigger and stronger right along with you, and they're going to be able to match everything you can do. So it's like, because that leaning, he opens himself up to the push-pull technique. He opens himself to that push, that pull into the swim maneuver that we see defensive linemen use.
A ghost move, right?
The ghost move.
He thinks people are going to engage him, and he starts leaning.
Yep. Like, and I give him credit. Like he started his own little feint ghost punch. He figured that out during the back end of the season, stuff like that. But you can't be leaning on guys. You got to stay square, stay on the balls of your feet. Be prepared to just hold up at the point of attack. Not leaning in, like, because when you start leaning in, that's when you lose all leverage and balance. I think I want to see him improve his base is a little wide at time for me too. So it's some technical stuff, but like a good offensive line coach and a good offensive line trainer, as we know, most of these young athletes, most of them have a trainer for their position group in the offseason to work with. He works on those things in and improves those things, like I think he's going to absolutely end up being a first round pick because his movement skills, the height, I think the arm length will check in above threshold, things of that nature. But 19 years old, he's got a lot to learn, a lot to grow into, and that's what's exciting about it, right? He's not a finished product by any means. He's got a lot more room to grow into the player that he can be, and he's got the ceiling wise. I think he could be a franchise left tackle in the league with that athleticism. And now you just wonder, because again, I think he played at like 290 something. So it's like, all right, Utah, like, are your tackles, is this something y'all are doing? Or is this like, these guys are just like, yeah, man, like we're good. They got a good balanced diet. Like maybe you need to call up Jennings Dunker and add a couple more calories in to the diet and see what happens and get that 310 and see how well you move from there. But I think he's got a really high ceiling. Looking forward to watching these two Utah tackles. I don't know who's playing quarterback, but looking forward to watching those two drop back all season this year.
Well, DP, you talk about offensive linemen that are sub 300. Well, we have another guy, right? Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Mr. Aamil Wagner, junior coming in. He's listed at 6'6", 295, DP. So you might want to get the guys on the weight plan a little bit, right? But we're going to have a conversation about who Aamil Wagner is, who he reminds us of, and what do we see the projection of him coming up next.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. Workplace stress is at an all-time high. 61% of global workforce is reporting higher than normal stress levels. This summer is the perfect time to take the small steps to focus on your wellness and manage the challenges that come with your workday. Of course, most of us cannot just quit our jobs or take endless vacations, but we can start small. Whether it's getting outside for a few minutes, adding movement into your day, or talking to someone who can help you navigate life's challenges, that's where BetterHelp comes in. And no matter how busy your schedule is, you wish that you had more time to schedule those appointments. The flexibility of online therapy makes it easy to fit sessions into your busy schedule. At the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the bright lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more worth your while and a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Leave that to them. Let's go make some money. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. New to FanDuel? I have just a thing for you. New customers can bet just $5 and get $150 back in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Again, new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 back in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. You don't want to miss out on a deal like this. So open the FanDuel app today or just go visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day shot for being our everydayers. Aamil Wagner. Keith said it's 6'6", 295. What is going on with these offensive tackles? These guys are lean and yeah, no. Gone are the days of having beer bellies, Keith. Like, I blame Tyron Smith, actually. I blame Tyron Smith from his days at USC with the crop top. You know what I mean? Out here with the six-pack. And now all these tackles want to have six-packs. But this is another guy similar to Lomu. First year as a starter this year. 2 sacks allowed, 4 QB hits. He allowed more hurries and pressures, though. 23 hurries, 29 pressures. And he's got good athleticism, really long arms, like long levers to be able, when he extends, you're like, man, like you're probably at 35 and a half. Like he's got really good length and everything. Good run blocker. I appreciate what he does in the run game, whether it is a gallop technique and duo blocks or just one-on-one situations, being able to turn a guy, get his back sealed and create that rushing lane. Also climbs into the second level well and everything. I like the fact that he doesn't get stagnant on blocks. Like he will run his feet, even if he's not like he's not Jennings Dunker, like taking guys out. And I wouldn't classify Aamil as a finisher. He's more of to be completely honest, you brought up Charles Cross earlier. He's more of the Charles Cross type, where it's like, okay, and I do, and don't get me wrong, I think right now, I like him a little bit better as a run blocker than a pass blocker. I see the upside of him as a pass blocker. I think I like him better as a run blocker. But it's more so he's more finesse than brute strength and physicality and things of that nature. Like I said, the wingspan, the arm length, and everything, and just being able to, they put him on an island at times, but understanding like, hey, I can protect my outside, force you back inside to the guard. I have help there. So for a first-year start, he played with good intelligence. Now, Keith, we talk about waist bending. That was the first thing I wrote down with him. Like he bends at the waist. And again, he's 6'6", he's tall, he's a long, linear guy, lean build, but like he truly is a waist bender. And you want to see him. Can you get more comfortable bending at the knees, sinking your hips, and just playing from a proper technique? He didn't do that enough for me last year. I was watching I watched Ohio State, Georgia in another game, and I was watching the Georgia game, and again, like there was a rep where Jalen Walker walked him back. You know what I mean? Like this, Jalen Walker 6'1", he's 6'6". So of course, Jalen Walker is going to have the advantage in terms of leverage. But like he punched, I think his timing was fine. Like it was the play strength for me. Like I watched Jalen Walker long arm him with the right hand, took his left hand, grabbed the outside wrist, and lifted the wrist up so he can get free and create the pressure on Riley Leonard. And I'm like, yeah, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like because you tell me if you saw the same thing, his feet to me are never not completely settled. Like his feet are so erratic at times. And it's similar to, it might be a thing that Notre Dame does. When Joe Alt came out, and he still does it now, he doesn't really kick step. It's a wide side step because he is 6'8", like 330 or 315, big wide guy, right? So Aamil does the same thing where he just kind of wide steps. You see him kick step a little bit. I will give him credit. That Penn State game, that was the other game. He had some good reps against Abdul. Now Abdul cooked him a couple of times, but he had some good reps. That was a nice back and forth battle between those two. I think he needs to add weight to his frame. 295 is not going to get it done at the NFL level. He needs to bulk up 100%. So, and he's a two-hand puncher too. Like that's a no-go for me. I don't want my corners doing it, and I don't want my offensive tackles doing it either. No two-hand punches.
Yeah, so I look at him, and the first thing for me is the feet, the base, and his stance and pass pro to me. And I think it was the Texas A&M game, if I remember. There was one rep, I think, with Shamar Stewart, right? And that's the part that I'm concerned, is that I feel like his base is wide, but also his whole entire chest plate is exposed, right? And the guys can convert speed to power and quickly collapse them because you're not that heavy. It's not like you're 330, 340, right? You're 295. So you're going against and guys like Shamar Stewart's and the Michael Williams, right? These defensive ends that are 275. It's not much difference in weight, right? Like you're not overbearingly weighing more than these guys to where you're a lot for them to move. Overall, I thought that he needed, I agree with you, like the strength needs to get there. And then with his footwork, you can almost tell that he's thinking a lot by looking at his feet because it's a lot going on down there. And I don't know if he's necessarily putting himself even in pass pro, like putting himself in a good position to be able to absorb contact because he's still kind of upright. And like you said, you can see the waist bending part, which is a concern. The thing is that confuses I'm like, how do we get here? Is because you watch him run on the backside of a play and he has to cut off defenders and trying to work to the linebacker. He's a good athlete, like really good athlete. Like you can tell he can move, he can run. Like you see that part, but it's like, okay, where is this going wrong? Because something is not connected, right? To where good athlete translates to good process. Right now, the process is still sporadic and erratic, and the athlete it's just not translating overall. And I think that was the biggest thing I seen with Aamil. If I had to give him a grade right now, I think he's one of those. He's probably in the same bucket with Blake Miller. I mean, like that. third round, I think, but I want to put you in the second. Like I want to like you a lot more, so I'll probably put him somewhere around there.
Yeah, same. And I was watching that Georgia tape, and there was a couple reps when Michael was on his side that he played Michael. He sat on the outside hand, forced him inside, but it was a game plan to have the guard right there to close the inside gap and stuff like that. And because I was like, man, if you wide nine Michael, and Michael get that head start, he's running like. He's the type of tackle right now that you're going to be able to kind of run through his chest because he doesn't have the strength and the anchor and everything else. But again, the athleticism is there. The arm length is there. The physical like tools and gifts are there. Now it's okay. We need to get you stronger. We got to bulk you up. Then we got to work on some of this technical stuff because to like what you talk about and going to the like him being able to be collapsed, having that wide enough, that base that's so wide, like your weight and your momentum isn't distributed properly. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So like you like at times I've seen this like his feet are almost a little bit wider than his shoulder length. And it's like, yeah, no, you got to bring that back in so you can have better balance and also be better prepared to take on power. So when they go speed to power, you can latch your hands, drop your feet and your hips, and you can anchor. So there's some things he's got to work on. There's a rep against Ohio State. I watched that game too, where he kind of like he just tosses Jack Sawyer. He used Jack Sawyer's momentum. He tried to cross face, and he just like tossed him into like the defensive tackle, and then I think he pulled out and got a linebacker in the run game. And I was like, I like that. Now, again, the consistent power and strength is not there with him. So I've heard some people have first round potential on him. And I understand it. I understand where they're coming from with that. I need to see more. And if we don't see it this year, go back to school. Because, again, the NFL is when you're playing with the trenches, it's one thing to be a 20-year-old receiver or running back. Like, yeah, it's a little different, right? Because your body type's a little bit more – you hit the weights more. Playing, like, you got to be a grown man to go play in the trenches in the NFL. Like, you have to. Because you get matched up with one of the Myles Garrett's of the world, and even though it's probably only one of him, you know what I mean?
I mean, you don't want Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, and that's where I go with kind of grading guys because it's I feel as though this is my perspective on it, right? The higher I draft you, so first round prospects, I'm expecting you to be able to hold your own against the elite in the NFL, right? I'm not expecting you to win every rep. But so if I'm looking at, offensive tackles, Aamil Wagner or, any of these guys, I'm like, okay, how would you fare against the Micah Parsons, the Myles Garrett? Like, do I feel like that's a total mismatch? And if I do, then I can't draft you that high, right? Because that's where, and that's how I kind of look at it from a perspective basis. Like, if you can't match up with the best of the best, then I can't put you in that category. I have to drop you down some and in that kind of situation.
Remember when Aiden was still at Michigan and they played Ohio State, that viral rep where he's talking to the left tackle, and I guess they were having words like throughout the game, and the left tackle said something because he think he's in I think the tackle's in Tennessee, and Aiden tells him, "I'm coming at you," and as soon as the ball snapped, he runs straight through his chest. I think it's Nicholas Petit-Frere. That's what NPF was. Nicholas Petit-Frere. That's a similar body type to Aamil Wagner. And it hasn't worked out for NPF either in the league. You got to be strong enough and have enough muscle mass, not just up top, but down. His legs are lean. You got to be strong enough to anchor. As I'll never forget that rep. You got a guy like talking about talking about Myles and Micah. You got Aiden Hutchinson coming back and stuff like that's a speed to power guy through and through. You don't want to get guys like that across from you and they look at you as food in the NFL. Like, oh yeah, I'm running straight through him. Like your quarterback's gonna be on the move if you can't anchor, if you can't counter power. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Again, he's a young player, still got 2 years of eligibility left, but really enticing and exciting upside. Now let's see. Hopefully, I would like to see his body be transformed a little bit coming into the season. To see him a little bit more muscle on his frame, Keith. To say, listen, I understand where my shortcomings were in 2024.
Yep, I agree with DP. That wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On tomorrow's episode, guys, the Miami Hurricanes had the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now they got a tackle that might be the first one off the board in the 2026 NFL Draft. Francis Muaga. We're going to talk about him on tomorrow's show. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.